Good day everyone, I am Michael, the moderator for this webinar. I welcome everyone for today's webinar, which is Corrective and Preventive Action, CAPA, our most important quality process. It's a great pleasure for me to introduce our presenter for today, William A. Levinson. William A. Levinson, PE, is the principal of Levinson Productivity Systems, PC. He is also the author of several books on quality, productivity, and management, of which the most recent is Resource Production Now. I would now like to hand over the floor to the speaker. Over to you, William.
Good afternoon, and thank you for coming. This is on corrective and preventive action, a key process of the quality management system. Okay, learning objectives. CAPA may well be the most important process of our quality management system because so much else depends on it, and we'll see that there's a lot of customer and supplier processes that depend on CAPA. CAPA is applicable to all 7 Toyota production system wastes as opposed to just poor quality and audit findings. We can do a lot more with it than just address quality issues, and we'll see how that works later. Know the organizational support requirements and apply the Automotive Industry Action Group's CQI 20 effective problem solving, which as far as I know is the best CAPA process ever written. It's an evolution of the Ford Motor Company's 8D process, which was the best available process of the time. I regard it as infinitely superior. CAPA's key role, corrective and preventive action, is arguably the most important process of the quality management system because the organization relies on it. It's among the foremost sources of audit findings. A Pareto analysis of FDA 483 citations shows complaints and CAPA to be the top 2 sources. However, complaints are addressed through CAPA. The reference adds the top warning letter citations for medical device companies. These are some examples, and these are accessible from the FDA's website. Another FDA warning letter acknowledges performance of CAPA. Another FDA warning letter, please notify FDA in writing of the specific steps you've taken to address any violations. Okay, we've seen so far that deficient CAPA processes are involved in about 1/3 or more quality management systems problems. Okay, suppliers of the CAPA process, customers of the CAPA process, product or service realization processes that generate the nonconformities. Okay, we've seen so far CAPA plays a central role, a vital role in making the quality system work. Traditional CAPA addresses only poor quality. Okay, how do we find the other wastes? We can treat for analytical purposes the gap between the current state and its ideal state as a nonconformance to invoke the CAPA process. In summary, any TPS waste can and should be treated like a nonconformity in the CAPA process. Okay, how does this fit in with quality management systems ISO 9001 and IATF 16949? Organizational support for CAPA requires an organizational culture that supports problem solving. In other words, if workers, elements of organizational support, these are listed below, and that's adapted from the CQI book. These are questions to ask. What standard business structures and processes throughout the organization support CAPA? Diversified organizations involve not just the quality department, everybody has to be involved in it. Organizational ethics, how does the organization promote transparency? How do we enable communications of problems and their status? How are employees and other potential cross-functional team members trained in problem-solving methods? Next, CAPA processes. All CAPA processes are forms of plan, do, check, and act. Here's CQI 20 side by side with plan, do, check, act. CQI 20 is probably the most up-to-date reference. As I mentioned before, it's an improvement on 8D. Okay, step 1, awareness of the problem. Remember this is a 9-step problem. Step 1 is awareness of the problem. We can't even begin to solve a problem that we don't know exists. Inputs, add audit findings, and also outputs of the management review meeting. There's something called a Shingo process map. that forces wastes of time to become visible. Redefine, for analytical purposes, conformity as absence of waste and nonconformity as a gap. ISO 50001 has an energy performance indicator as a metric for before and after, and it says simply draw an analytical control surface around the process under assessment. So the takeaway is we can far exceed the original scope of CAPA by treating any gap. Establish a team. First question, is a cross-functional team necessary? The team is usually cross-functional. Champion or sponsor, often the process owner, has the resources and authority to implement the solution. Do the team members have the necessary competencies? Next step, extremely important, is to define the problem. Define the problem in terms of what, requirement not being met, where and when observed, how measured, and so on. 8D problem solving explained. I recommend this book very highly. For example, is, not, if it's seen on only one machine but not on others. The deliverable is a problem statement that not only describes the problem but also quantifies it, and it has to be actionable by the team. Containment. This can be omitted for situations where poor quality is not being produced. Its purpose is to prevent the poor quality from reaching the customer. One thing, it's important to not confuse containment with correction. IATF 16949 goes well beyond ISO 9001 regarding control of non-conforming outputs. Identify the root cause. This is an extremely important takeaway from CQI 20. Okay, I mentioned there's a relationship to failure mode effects analysis. Deserves particular attention, particular focus, because organizations often fail to identify a problem's real root cause. CQI 20 elaborates that the systemic root cause is the earliest point in the system. Successive check systems means it keeps poor quality from entering your process. Failure mode effects analysis is a vital input to root cause analysis. Next, select, test corrective actions. Okay, test it to make sure it works. Prevent recurrence. The purpose of this step is to prevent recurrence of the problem and also proactively prevent occurrence of similar problems in related processes and activities. Whenever the new method is found to be markedly superior to the old, it should be adopted as the standard for the whole establishment. Key takeaways from Taylor. Finally, recognize the team. This form of internal communication teaches others how to do effective CAPA and encourages imitation. This example is drawn. Also, we have to define the problem correctly, try actions and verify effectiveness, standardize the improvement, congratulate the team, root cause analysis, implement the actions. The Heinlein example, Hayari Hato, recognition of unsafe situation. Hato or ECR can either be implemented by the process owner. Here's an example of Muda Hato. The situation and improvement are nonetheless filed as a quality record to support organizational knowledge. Case summary, CAPA is already required by ISO 9001 and IATF 16949. Error cause removal is what we use when the issue can be resolved by the process owner and management of change. Okay, that's everything I have. Thank you for listening. Okay, again, I'd like to thank everybody for attending, and I hope this is useful.
Once again, thank you, William, for the great presentation. So that does conclude the session for today. Thank you everyone for participating. You may all disconnect now. Have a great day ahead. Bye-bye.